All right, hi there, folks. Welcome back. In the last video, we talked about the what if game and talking through questions that directly ask, hey, what if this happens? What's the worst thing that can happen here? And will we be okay if the worst things that that could happen actually do happen? Again, this is the actual introduction of that vaccination shot, really bringing into our forefront of our thoughts the ideas of the worst case scenarios for us to actually deal with and to tackle head on. So what I want to do in this video is I want to actually start talking through a list of the common things that come out of those questions that I've heard from people. And to kind of give you a framework of, hey, everyone's going to experience different answers to those questions in different ways. So really what I wanted to do is to provide kind of an overview of some of the most common things that I've heard that of the answers that come out of those kind of questions. And in one of these videos, it'll probably hit you where you're at, or maybe multiple of these videos will hit you where you're at. And so, yeah, that's what these videos are going to be about. These next few sets are just kind of talking through the different types of answers that people are coming up with as I've heard them in these last few weeks. So, um, remember, if you recall from a few videos ago, one of the first steps we have to do is begin to start translating that the actual process of dealing with anxiety is to move and understanding that what we're actually experiencing isn't just fear and anxiety; it's fear of pain and loss. And so, really what we want to try and do is actually tackle the pain and loss part so that we can remove the fear element of that. And so what I have here is a list of different types of losses that people might suffer, that people might have to undergo. And so I'll give a summary of that right now, and that will become a primer for the next few videos. So some common things that I've heard. It's going to be a loss of connection and relationships. And so a lot of people are just maybe more extrovert, and they enjoy having connection with other people. Even if you didn't, even if you're an introvert before, then even still under these conditions, it's still going to be a little bit hard for you. But particularly for those of you who really crave human connection and interactions and being around people, this is a particularly hard time because we're all trying to physically distance ourselves from one another. And so you're going through a bit of loss. There's these relationships and this tribe of people that you have that you're not able to connect with in the same way. And these are the relationships that would give you support and give you a sense of grounding. And so that is being lost. And part of the element of that as well is that you don't know when that's going to change. You don't know how long that's going to go for. And so that's one thing. The second thing is a loss of power and control. There are just things that we don't have the ability to do anymore. You can't go to the gym. You can't go to the mall. You can't go and do these things. You have less control over your situation, and probably even more so than that. There's less control over being able to manage and predict. Like, we don't know what we don't know. There's a whole area of unknown out there right now, and so that by itself, there's a loss of control over that. You can no longer plan. Like, it's very difficult. I'm sure everyone's experiencing this right now. If you make a plan today, that plan might not be valid tomorrow, dependent upon how things are going. And so whenever that happens, there's always going to be a sense of loss of control over your environment, how you manage your situation. But I'll dig a little bit deeper into this one too. I've sensed that there's a loss of not just power and control over that dynamic, but a loss of control over the ability to protect, to provide, and to prevent. And so protecting your family, protecting yourself. There's a loss of control in being able to say, okay, there are things I can do to make sure my family, my own, stay safe. That's a little bit in question right now. There's a little bit of uncertainty, especially when you're dealing with a virus like the coronavirus. And then the loss of the ability to provide. There is a sense of anxiety. I mean, even if you're not afraid of the coronavirus and getting sick, you can be afraid of the fact that you might be running out of supplies, that the grocery shelves are bare, or that you might not have access to toilet paper, or there might be a number of things that you don't have the ability to say, I know that my family will be provided for. That's a little bit in question at times, and so that kind of leads to people's anxiety and a loss of ability to control that. And then last is the ability to prevent, to control how we prevent things from happening, like financial impacts or whatever it might be, that there are things that you can no longer prevent. No matter how much you try, no matter what you do, you might not be able to prevent things as much as you like, or as much as you might be comfortable with. So that's that part. The other thing that I'm sensing out there is there's an undercurrent of loss of hope. I mean, I talked to a number of people, and one of the things that's really hard right now is that because things are uncertain, it's hard to hope in the future because the future is uncertain. We don't know what things are going to look like. And I hear from a lot of people, I just don't know when this is going to end. If I knew this was going to end and when it was going to end and how it was going to end, then I might be okay. Really, when I hear that statement, it's about like, I don't know how I can put hope in anything. I don't know what the future holds. And so there's a sense of loss behind the stability of the future, hope of normalcy, that things will ever get back to normal in the way things were. That in and of itself is being lost as well. And so being able to tag that that's a thing, that there are people that really hold on to that sense of wanting things to be normal and to be predictable, that's a loss in and of itself. Another one would be the loss of financial security. I'm sure everyone is going to be impacted to some degree economically, and when the entire economy is hurting, that means everyone's hurting as well. And so that might mean that, hey, I don't know what this means about my job. I don't know what that means about my financial income. I don't know what that means about my retirement account. There are a lot of financial impacts that can happen from this, and from that, the ability to provide and protect and prevent all those things that we had talked about before. And so the financial impact is another area of loss, real loss. And you can even quantify that loss as well by how much money you might be losing or whatever it might be. So there's loss there as well. And the last area that I probably would say is the loss of health and life. And so there's a sense of security that we have that we can say, you know, at least I've got my health, at least I've got my loved ones around me. If your fears go to this place of I might lose my loved ones, then this is a loss as well. You don't have that security as much as you might want or have had before. And so you have to start working through, there is a loss of a certainty around, do I have my health? Am I safe? Is my family safe? And they could suffer, they could become ill, they could die. And so those are other areas of potential loss that we have to consider as well. So again, the whole point of this video is to start maybe doing an inventory, if you will, kind of an accounting of the different areas of loss. If you kind of think about it like an accounting sheet, there's different line items of losses that are happening, that are already currently happening, or could happen more so. And so in order for us to be able to kind of reconcile these things, to kind of reconcile that ledger sheet, we need to be able to say, okay, these are the areas that we are losing and where we might lose more. And so once we have that understanding what that list is for you particularly, then we have the ability to say, okay, what can we do to reconcile that? How can we begin to recover from that? So that's kind of the preview of the next few videos. I'll go through each of these a little bit more in detail to kind of start talking through how do we reconcile those things. But beyond all that, what I want to leave with is this the reminder that this is like working out. If you think about it this way, whenever you go to the gym and you work out, you're basically breaking down your muscles. You're going through physical pain and exercising your muscles, and your muscles are tearing down. And what happens after the fact is that it begins to rebuild and your muscles get stronger, and that's how you get in shape. In many respects, this is the same process. We're not just going through kind of a vaccination, but we're trying to build that strength. So as we engage these different losses, we're asking you essentially for you to break down these muscles, to work them out, to really dig into some of the pain, so that you can begin to start naturally rebuilding and getting stronger. And so the idea at the end of all this is that you have a much stronger version of you that can be resilient to withstand a number of different things, that can hold the weight of a lot of different potential outcomes that could happen in any situation. So that's, again, just kind of a reframe, a reminder of what this is about and what we're doing here. Again, definitely reach out to us at watershedinitiative.com on our website, or join our Facebook group to engage in discussions where you can talk through some of the things a little bit more. But yeah, we have a number of different resources out there that we want to make sure we can put in your hands. So don't feel hesitant to reach out to us at all. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next video.